What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Radiovania, episode number 17. We're a couple episodes away from being able to legally drink in most states in the United States of America. This is your nerdy public radio for all things entertainment and pop culture. My name is Zach Rotello. Sitting to my left is the island-themed John Parker. John, how you doing?
Aloha, Radiovania listeners.
You're gonna pop the mic. You look good. I'm gonna take a photo so we can put this on the Twitter. Right? Okay. Beautiful. You look good.
Thank you.
Is there a reason for the island get-up?
You know, I'm just feeling in the mood for some relaxation, some R&R, you know, slide on in that R&R into the weekend, you know?
Slide into those DMs. And speaking of sliding into those DMs, I got Michael Richards sitting across from me. Michael, how you doing?
Great.
Doing well, making one of my rare appearances here.
No, you've been on 2 After Darks.
Yeah.
So you're the third most. You have the award for the third most consecutive appearances on the show.
Oh, right. I'm loving it.
Yeah. And so Michael is here on a auspicious occasion because we're coming back from a week break where we did an After Dark, and now we're going to get back to our good old-fashioned news segment. So, John, have you felt a little out of touch with what's going on in pop culture?
Not really.
All right, well, good news. I got some stuff to run by you.
Let's do it.
And so basically what we do here is we go through the nerdy news that you and we
love to talk about.
Yes, and we love to dissect it and get into the minutia, and it's a lot of fun. And if you want to get in touch with the show, you can do it in many ways. You can tweet us at Radiovania. You can tweet me at Zach Rotello. You can tweet John at @DatJohnParker. You can tweet the show at Radiovania or email it at radiovaniashow@gmail.com. Also, if it helps, if it's okay with you guys, go to iTunes and subscribe and rate the podcast. 5-star rating would be preferable.
Of course.
If you have a 1-star rating, don't bother. Go fuck off and die. You know what I'm saying? And then he's got to write the time code down. That's gonna be the one. That's gonna be the one bad thing about doing this is that you don't have the time codes up. But hey,
I'll guess.
You'll guess. He's gonna guess. He's gonna do a good job. So John, Michael, without further ado, let's just jump into the topic so we can churn this out. Also,
let's do it.
Let's do it. Also, this is going to be our pre and post show for X-Men Apocalypse?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the title. Congratulations. You watched a TV commercial.
Hey, we got the Fassbender in this one, right?
Of course.
All right.
Got Jennifer Lawrence, too. So if you're not into X-Men, at least got eye candy. Bounce, 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 bounce.
Story number one comes from the Transformers movie on Instagram. And basically, they have a short little video announcing the title of the 4th Transformers film? Fifth Transformers film, entitled Transformers: The Last Night. Now, I want to go around the table. We'll go around the table real quick. I want to get general consensus. How fucking sick of Transformers are we right now?
Oh, my God.
Michael, have you ever watched? You like those Transformers movies?
You know what? I have to say, I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, I the first one's fun.
I thought it was a well done movie.
Fine.
Yeah, it's a fine movie. Hated the rest of them.
Yeah, that Dark in the Moon one wanted to straight up.
Dark of the Moon was bad.
Vomit.
Age of Extinction, I couldn't even finish, and I pretty much finish any movie I start. I think there are 2 movies in recent memory that I've started and haven't finished, and that's Age of Extinction. And then Rubber, the movie about the tire that rolls around and kills people. So those are the 2 that I haven't finished. Absolutely, check it out on Netflix.
Are you serious?
It's a terrible movie.
The movie's called Rubber.
Rubber, tire rolls around and kills people.
It's not about condoms.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's not.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen is the swan song of modern cinema. Just kidding.
Damn, that is a...
in case you guys didn't listen to After Dark, I don't know what swan song means, so I'm going to keep guessing until we nail it.
I think that's so funny. We nailed down...
Shots in the dark.
He said
that's my catchphrase.
Shots in the dark. He said swan song about Lego... Black Ops.
Zombies.
Black Ops Zombies being the swan song.
And then Lego Lord of the Rings.
Being the swan song of the Lego games.
And I was like 1/4 correct.
You were...
Maybe
you were in the ballpark. You were hitting with one of those
out.
Foam pool toys that you see.
A pool noodle.
A pool noodle.
Okay. I'll take that. At least I'm there.
Yeah, at least you're swinging for something. Next story comes from Deadline.com by Patrick Hypes on May 20th, 2016, and it reads, Michael Keaton joins Spider-Man Homecoming after all? Is he the Vulture? So basically what they're saying is that Keaton is actually back in. We reported that he was in, and then he was out. And now we're reporting
Just
again.
when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
So Michael Keaton is in talks, and the theory is that he will play the Vulture. It was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and introduced in Amazing Spider-Man #2 in 1963. John?
We don't give Stan Lee and Steve Ditko much
No,
credit
we
on the
really
show.
haven't talked a lot about Stan Lee on the show, just because the big Marvel show was Civil War. We
Yeah.
talked about it on the show, but we haven't really talked about Stan Lee.
Yeah,
Good guy?
he's amazing.
Yeah, great guy.
He created like billions of dollars of the past like 10 years of cinema.
Yeah.
So,
Dude's so wealthy. Can you imagine?
are you Tony Stank?
So what do you think about Michael Keaton being the Vulture? We talked about him being Norman Osborn, but what do you feel about the Vulture?
Is that confirmed?
No, this is all rumor and speculation.
I don't think he's gonna be the Vulture.
You don't think so? Even suggested with the rumors?
Here's my idea. There are two vultures.
Okay.
And I do not know their actual names.
Okay.
All I know is there's the bald vulture, which is
Okay.
pictured here, where he's got like the frill around him and he actually looks like a vulture.
He's got bird wings.
And there was a vulture that came out later on, and it was premiered a lot in that 90s cartoon Spider-Man show, where he's like, you know, like mid-30s and stuff like that, and he looks kind of like Falcon from like Captain America and stuff like that.
Okay.
I
It's got like robotics
Yes,
almost.
I think they're
Okay.
gonna have a younger vulture, not the older vulture,
Okay.
and I still think he's gonna be Norman.
Okay.
I think that's too good of an actor to waste on a silly villain like the Vulture, who, I'm sorry, the Vulture can't be your main villain for the entire movie.
Not even for like because they're not doing an origin story. They've already said that.
Right.
They've set up the story. They've
Right.
set up the Aunt May and Peter Parker hanging out with
Marissa
Tony Stark.
Tomei.
Or Mr. Tomei, shout out. You don't think that the Vulture could just play kind of like a ancillary sort of villain in the first movie to set up Norman Osborn?
No.
All right. You heard it first here, folks. Michael, do you have any strong opinions on Michael Keaton or the Spider-Man universe?
I will definitely leave the Spider-Man opinions to John. I think he's the better founder than that.
Moving right along to Marvel.com. Marvel Studios confirms stellar new cast members of the highly anticipated Thor Ragnarok. Two-time Oscar winner Cate Blanchett, Blue Jasmine Carol Cinderella, joins Marvel Studios' Thor Ragnarok as the mysterious and powerful new villain, Hela. Along with Jeff Goldblum, the upcoming Independence Day resurgence and the Grand Budapest Hotel, and Jurassic Park, who joins the cast as the eccentric Grandmaster. Tessa Thompson, Creed, and Selma, who will bring the classic hero Valkyrie to life on the big screen, and Carl Urban from the Star Trek trilogy and Lord of the Rings, who will add his might to the fray as Scourge.
These are all obscure Thor characters.
So we talked
So
about
if you were hoping for Infinity War characters,
Sure.
you're missing out.
we talked about this in the car a couple days ago, and we were saying this Hela character, Hela. She is
Hela.
She's she's established, so she's a character in the films or in the comics rather.
Yeah, I think they all are.
Do you think Cate Blanchett will work as this character?
I think Cate Blanchett can do anything.
Cate Blanchett is very versatile. Also,
But she wasn't good enough to save Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which is this weird dream that I had in 2008.
it's just a fever dream.
Yeah.
No one really knows what happened.
Yeah,
that
it was
day.
weird. It was
Yeah.
very vivid. There was like giant ants and swinging with monkeys
Shia
and
LaBeouf.
aliens and stuff. Oh, Shia LaBeouf was in my dream?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Weird.
The biggest thing here, though, to me is as much as I love Cate Blanchett, Jeff Goldblum is in this film. How does that sit with you? You like Jeff Goldblum there?
Love him.
Yeah, love Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
Do we think he's fitting in this Thor universe?
Ragnarok.
Listen, they were able to make Thor work as a movie, which is one of like the hardest comic book characters to make work, just because it's like really, really wonky.
Oh,
Norse
yeah, it's
mythology.
whacked. Thor's
So
whacked.
I'm gonna leave it up to the writers. I think it's. I mean, say what you want about a couple bad MCU movies every now
Sure.
and then, but are they even that bad?
Their
Not
track
really.
record is mostly positive.
So, whatever.
And even the worst Iron Man 2 is still entertaining, at the least.
for like a little bit of it.
So the next article I want to read is about Assassin's Creed, and it comes from IGN.com, and it says Assassin's Creed movie creators want to prove that fans that they understand the game. There's not a whole lot in this article that I specifically want to touch on, but there is a weird quote that I want to bring up, which is from Crowley, who is, I believe, one of the producers of the game from Ubisoft, and he says there are some big deviations from the games. Crowley said the movie will take place 65% in the present and 35% in the past, whereas the games are predominantly set in the past. As a recently released trailer also showed, the Animus looks a lot different in the film than it does in the game. A decision production designer, Andy Nichols, explained as, quote, a more interesting departure from the game because you can't just film someone twitching on a couch, end quote. Another quote from Crowley says, quote, inherently, you think every gamer comes to the movie and they're going to sit there if they're an Assassin's Creed fan. They're going to sit down in their seat and they're going to go, this is never going to be good enough, end quote, said Crowley. Ellipsis. How will you please them? The only way to please them is to make you feel like you really care about their experience. And also give them something in which the next time they play the game after they see the movie, they understand the real world that it exists in. Michael, I wanted to bring this story up because you are more of an Assassin's Creed fan than both John and I.
Definitely.
And you've seen the trailer.
Yep.
What did you think about the trailer? We talked about this a little bit on After Dark, right?
Yeah, we did a little bit.
Okay.
It looked interesting. I can't say it was something that I was thrilled after I saw it. I wasn't completely disappointed. I would have loved to see an Ezio Italian storyline in that trailer. That would have just blown me away.
Sure.
To see that. That was definitely my favorite. I understand why they wouldn't have done it, though. You know, just too much of a fan base. People would have expected too much. But it was interesting to see them go back and definitely you talked about the changes in the Animus, all of that. Almost felt like they were redoing a lot of the core elements of the basic story.
And how does that, in addition to this quote about 65% modern, 35% past, how does that sit with you as a fan of the series?
Right. Those of you who have played the games, I would say 95% of people would agree with me on this, that your least favorite part, my least favorite part of the games was the present day.
Yep, I agree.
You got through as fast as you could so you could play the past again, because that was the drawing part. Like, I never bought an Assassin's Creed game to see what Desmond Miles was doing or whoever the next guy was. I always bought it to see that time in history, what was going on. So this should be interesting, the fact that they're taking it this much present day.
Yeah.
I hope they pull it off, but at this point, I don't
From
know.
the trailer, you would assume if that's the real statistic, you would assume that we've seen literally every scene from the movie that takes place in the past in that trailer.
Yeah, it'll probably be a 2-hour movie. It's probably pretty standard movie time.
Sure.
They've gotten a little longer.
Somewhere between an hour and 45 and 2:15.
Right. So we'll see about 40 minutes of the past, and the rest
That's
will
so
be
disappointing.
kind of a weird thriller, modern day sci-fi movie. Don't really know how to describe it.
This movie has no prayer.
No.
Zach's lock of the week. Assassin's Creed's gonna suck, I think, at this point. John, any strong opinions?
Doesn't look good.
No. But
Fassbender is awesome.
Right.
but Kanye.
Yeah,
He's not going to be in the movie.
No, he's not. Can you imagine if Kanye had a cameo?
I can, actually. I can see him buying his way into that.
Oh yeah.
Actually, he's broke, so right.
Kim could buy his way in.
He'll beg his way into it.
I want Kanye to be in this movie so that, I don't know.
Can he be like a Templar?
Can he be like the main character?
I like the Italian guy. Can he be Da Vinci?
Let's move on.
From The Hollywood Reporter, Harley Quinn movie in the works at Warner Brothers with Margot Robbie. This is an exclusive. In an interesting twist, the project is not a Quinn solo movie. Rather, it would focus on several of DC's female heroes and villains with names such as Batgirl and Birds of Prey surfacing. Months ahead of the opening of Suicide Squad, Warner Brothers is already contemplating a spin-off for the DC Entertainment anti-heroine, Harley Quinn. Margot Robbie, who stars as a villainess in Suicide Squad, is attached to reprise the character and would also produce the untitled spin-off, The Hollywood Reporter has learned. But in an interesting twist, the project is not a Quinn solo movie. Rather, it would focus on several of DC's heroes and villains. Details are being closely guarded, but names such as Batgirl, Birds of Prey have surfaced, although in what capacity, it's not clear, and Warner Brothers is not commenting. John? Turning it back around from Marvel news back to DC into your wheelhouse. Do you think a solo Harley Quinn movie is a good idea?
Well, they just said it's not a solo Harley Quinn movie, right?
Well,
it's a spin-off that she's in. I think they would do a Birds of Prey movie. I think that makes a lot of sense.
What is Birds of Prey?
It's a female ensemble.
Who else is in the female ensemble?
I'm going to have to stretch here because I'm not that up to date on it, but it's like Batgirl, I think like Huntress, people like that.
Okay.
And then like versus female villains. Like
who
Harley
are the
Quinn and Poison Ivy and stuff like that.
Okay, so Poison Ivy.
It's mostly like Batman-esque.
Okay.
Female heroes.
Who are the biggest names that they can bill from this? Harley Quinn, Batgirl, Poison Ivy?
If they want to include that, yeah.
Okay.
Because a big aspect of the cartoon series that everybody really liked was the relationship and friendship that Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy had together.
Okay.
That was always a really fun episode when Batgirl would have to go fight the two of them, occasionally teaming up with like Supergirl or somebody. So I can see them bringing Poison Ivy into the fold in a movie like that, which would be cool. But I think it's unwise that they're releasing all this information now, given that we haven't even seen her yet.
Yeah. I think it's the thing they announce like all their movies leading up to 2021.
As much as I love DC, they're putting all their eggs in one basket too soon, and they're not taking time.
I agree.
So I'm afraid about them rushing like every project that they're doing.
When do you think we see this movie?
3 years.
3 years. So you think Suicide Squad comes out, is a success?
Hopefully.
Batman.
It'll be after the solo Batman movie.
Okay. Before Justice League.
No, because Justice League's supposed to be next year.
Really?
2017.
That's
right? Or they move
Holy
it. They
crap.
move it to 18.
Okay, so 2
but
years.
But still, it'll be after the first Justice League, maybe before the second part of it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
From the Daily Mail, we got some Daniel Craig news here. Have you read this?
Yeah.
Okay. Daniel Craig has told studio bosses he is done playing 007, sources claim. The news comes just days after bookmakers called off bets on Cambridge-educated Tom Hiddleston becoming the next James Bond. Craig is the highest-paid actor to date to play the role, netting a reported total of 38 million euros for the four films he has appeared in. He has played Bond since 2005 and helped bank well over $2 billion in box office revenue, helping ease MGM's bankruptcy issues. Insiders said Craig turned down a $68 million offer from MGM Studio to return as Bond for 2 more films following last year's hit Spectre. The sum included endorsements, profit shares, and a role for him working as co-producer. One LA film source said, quote, Daniel is done, pure and simple. He told top brass at MGM after Spectre. They threw huge amounts of money at him, but it just wasn't what he wanted, end quote. He also threw in, quote, he told people after shooting that this would be his final outing, but the film company still felt he would come around after Spectre if he was offered a money deal. So, this is so fascinating, right? Because like not only like a month or two ago, there was those quotes coming out about Daniel Craig saying he would rather slit his wrists than come back as Bond. How bad must it be to play James Bond? Would you play James Bond for $58 million?
Yes. This is like the coolest person ever in fiction.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why do you think he wants to turn this down? Like what
I don't think he wants
sense.
to go through the physical toll of it anymore.
You think you don't think it's the typecasting worry?
I think it's also a little bit of that too. Yeah.
Okay.
I just think he's being a little pompous. I love Daniel Craig, but come on, dude.
Casino Royale is still my favorite Bond
Slow
movie.
your roll, man. Like you're doing
Did you
a
like
great
any
job.
of the Daniel Craig Bond movies?
Love the check that, reverse it.
Check that, reverse it.
Oh, love the Daniel Craig movies.
Did you see Spectre?
I have not yet.
Okay, yeah, me neither.
Neither of you have seen
No,
Spectre.
I didn't.
I've seen
I was
it
not
twice.
motivated.
I like it a lot. It's only my third Craig movie though. Third favorite.
Behind Spectre, behind Skyfall and
No, Casino first and then Skyfall.
Agreed. I like that order. I haven't seen Spectre.
Spectre is cool, and there's a lot of great set pieces and action sequences and stuff like that. But there's a lot of actors who just feel vacant, like they mailed in their performance from like priority mail. Daniel Craig, because he was already, I think, hating this role, just kind of felt a little empty at places. And I love Christoph Waltz, but
I love Christoph Waltz.
Wasn't in the movie enough.
Yeah. From Deadline.com, Tetris the Movie taking shape at new Bruno Wu Larry Kazanoff joint venture, Threshold Global Studios. This is from Keynes. Initially announced last year, the pieces are falling into place for Tetris the Movie. The project is eyed at an $80 million China-U.S. co-production under Threshold Global Studios, a new banner formed by Bruno Wu and producer Larry Kazanoff. The product of a team-up between Kazanoff's Threshold Entertainment and Wu's Seven Star Works, it will develop and finance film projects for the global market and will release inaugural effort Tetris the Movie in China. Mortal Kombat producer Kazanoff is in Cannes speaking with international sales agents. The plan is to film in China and other locations in 2017 with Chinese cast featured in the ensemble pick that's billed as a sci-fi thriller.
Oh my god.
Kazanov tells me it's, quote, not at all what you think. It will be a cool surprise, end quote. The film is seen as the first part of a trilogy.
Oh, no.
Can we please stop with the video game
You all
movies?
ever see a movie called Pixels? That movie sucks.
Pixels does suck, but Tetris, can you think of a video game that deserves a movie less than Tetris? This is an awful idea. This is an awful idea. The 32-year-old Tetris, which became a staple of arcades in the 80s, has been downloaded over 500 million times as a mobile game.
I'd rather see a Candy Crush movie.
Candy Crush has some interesting characters and stuff like that.
You got the king.
Yeah, you got the king.
the little candies.
The locations.
Sure. But Tetris?
Tetris.
How...
I hope they save the universe by putting two pieces together.
This movie flops.
Oh, absolutely.
This movie
It's
flops.
not a trilogy.
Does
It's one
this-
movie. It's going to make $20 million.
Maybe this stuff works in China, though.
This is true. The Chinese market is whack.
The Chinese market is whack, and
different.
and they make a ton of our money from American
yeah.
movies. The thing is that with Tetris, it's not a video game movie. I can understand. I wish that more video game movies would be made because eventually there's got to be a good one, right? We would assume that eventually there would be a good video game movie, but it just hasn't happened yet.
War Games.
Yeah, Warcraft. Also, that came out today.
War Games.
War Games. What do you want? War Games?
You ever seen War Games?
No.
Matthew Broderick?
No. Good movie.
Yeah, it's good.
All right.
You should watch it.
All right, I will.
I'm a little disappointed right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
What's the plot of War Games? And is like Tetris?
It's not
Do these guys have to
it's not an
ship
actual
blocks?
video game, but he plays a video game that actually sets off nuclear launch codes.
Interesting.
Great movie.
Definitely not a video game movie.
It's
no.
definitely a video game movie.
Let's talk for 5 seconds too about another video game movie that looks terrible is Warcraft.
Yeah.
Like-
came out today. Hold on a second. Yeah. Warcraft came out today.
What's the Rotten Tomatoes?
Let's go to Rotten Tomatoes. Good
I'm
call.
gonna say 42%.
Yeah, take a bet. Don't look at the screen. Look that way.
25.
John says 25.
I'm gonna say 42. I'm
Michael
gonna
says
benefit-
42.
Benefit of the doubt.
I'm going to say... Have you seen it? Did you just look
No,
at it?
yeah.
I'm going to say... I'm going to go high. I'm going to say 53.
Okay.
38%.
38.
38%
42.
on Rotten Tomatoes. 51.
Michael's closest.
Okay, so Michael, it looks like you won the Warcraft bet. there.
30.
They got a better rating than Batman v Superman.
Well, also keep in mind that there's only 8 critics reviews. So no, this movie comes out June 10th. So
Oh,
this
wow.
is
That's a while.
I was wrong about that. These are just earlier impressions.
Not good.
A flawed but likable
bad.
adventure that I would happily go on again, says William Bibani, and gives it a fresh rating. And then there is imagine Battlefield Earth without the verve or unintentional comedy.
Dang.
The final product brings to mind those animated advertisements for iPhone app games.
Ooh, that's rough. All right. Yikes.
So yeah,
Sorry.
looks like that's going to be the first terrible movie of the summer. Moving right along to comicbookmovie.com. Looks like the title of Rian Johnson's Star Wars Episode 8 may have leaked.
Ooh.
A leaked video features footage of a sign that'll reportedly be unveiled at the upcoming Star Wars celebration, and it seems to have revealed the official title for the Force Awakens follow-up. Are we ready to hear it?
Absolutely.
Star Wars Episode 8 Fall of the Resistance.
Huh.
Let that sink in for a second. How do we feel about it?
It's good.
I think it's good.
It's better than the ones that they had previously been talking about, like Tales of the
Jedi Temple.
Which
What a
sounds like
terrible,
sounds like
what
a
a
16-bit
terrible
video
name.
game.
That sounds like an awful name for a movie.
Sounds like one of the comic books in the 90s, the Star Wars.
Yeah.
Tales of the
comic books,
Jedi
yeah.
Temple.
Young Jedi.
That sounds like an expanded universe book.
Oh, absolutely.
Fall of the Resistance. It sounds cool.
Brings up dark themes, obviously.
I mean, if you think about it, we've had Empire Strikes Back. We've also had Attack of the Clones. So there have been like darkish sounding titles, like Revenge of the Sith and stuff like that. So.
yeah, and
It's not copying Empire Strikes Back.
no, I
Just
think it
saying.
would have been. I think it would have been really scary if they did like a
First Order Strikes Back.
Yeah, First Order Strikes Back. Even if it was like something strikes or something attacks, you
Yeah.
know,
Fall
Fall
of
of the Resistance makes it very.
Because who
ominous.
knows? They could fall because of political reasons.
Sure, it could be an internal thing.
Yep.
And who knows?
Maybe Poe becomes a traitor.
They had 3 or 4 of their planets destroyed in the last movie, so...
Yeah, they had had the whole Republic just kind of wiped out.
This is what I think is funny, okay? They have no Republic fleet, no Republic, 8 X-Wings, maybe. Falcon's gone. Rey's gone. Chewie's gone. They have Leia, Poe, a broken Finn, Squad, BB-8, C-3PO, an old Akbar, 8 X-Wings. Did I already say 8 X-Wings? That's all they have. It's not going to be easy to make them fall. Kylo Ren can walk in and kill all of them easily.
It's going to be cool.
Maybe he does. Who knows?
There was also that rumor circulating. We talked about that Leia gets injured, right?
Yeah.
You think that's even more probable with this title?
I think it's the opening of the movie.
Okay.
I think Phasma leads like a strike team or something, and Leia gets critically injured.
The next story comes from Netflix.com. Interestingly enough, have either of you heard about the big Netflix news of the week?
No.
From September onwards, Netflix will become the exclusive U.S. pay TV home of the latest films from Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilm, and Pixar. And we're excited to be bringing you new and exclusive Netflix original movies, including Mascots from the master of low-key comedy Christopher Guest, Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, Money, and War Machine from acclaimed Australian director David Mickett, and starring Brad Pitt, yada yada yada. No one cares because everyone only cares about Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilm, and Pixar. This is huge.
That's incredible.
This is huge. This is huge news, man. This is Netflix
double-decker big.
Can you imagine how much money they had to have spent on this to get the exclusive digital streaming rights?
They spent all of
Disney,
their House of Cards,
Marvel,
Disney.
Lucasfilm, Pixar. Oh my god!
They spent all of Daredevil's money, all House of Cards money. Everything. They put all their chips in a basket.
Statistics show that people watch more Netflix than they do like straight up regular cable program.
I know, I do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I 100% watch streaming
I haven't
movies
just
more
turned
than
on
I
the
do.
TV to flip through the channels in a long time.
Sports.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
watch for
If
I watch
if
TVs
there's a
for
game
sports
on,
and Food Network.
That's it, yep.
Food Network.
Even Food Network, I watch Chopped and all that.
Oh,
on
I love
Netflix.
Chopped. Oh
That's
my
all on
god!
Netflix.
How about
I'm sorry, you've been chopped.
Cutthroat Kitchen? Definitely.
Oh, you watch Cutthroat Kitchen?
absolutely.
Holy
Absolutely.
Give me a f***ing high five, Mikey. I love Cutthroat Kitchen.
It's
Alton
the best.
Brown is the best.
He's the man.
Oh, Alton Brown's the
Brown's
best.
the man.
But yeah, Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilm, Pixar. Do we think they'll, right up from September, put on a bunch of Marvel movies, or do you think it's going to be more of a slow burn?
Oh, I think they're going to hit us with at least a couple.
I'm going to go like Iron Man 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, wow.
The first Avenger, Hulk, Thor 1, maybe Thor 2.
So maybe most of
Up
Phase
through
1.
Phase 2.
Most of Phase 1 and maybe some of Phase 2?
Yep.
What about Lucasfilm and Pixar? Do we think like animated movies? Do we think Star Wars hits Netflix?
No, I think Droids and Ewoks, the cartoons, will hit Netflix.
Oh wow,
Clone Wars
so
is
obscure.
Clone Wars is already on there. The other
Clone
Clone Wars show, the one that was like 5 minutes in between like Dexter's Lab and stuff like that, I think that'll get thrown on there. But nothing, they're not going to put like The Force Awakens or even like the original Star Wars on there, at least not for a while.
Yeah. I think that's
in regards to Pixar, like maybe throw like the
Toy
obscure
Story?
ones like Ratatouille, Bugs Life, stuff like that. I don't know about Toy Story.
I think we're going to see most Pixar pre-Wall-E on there.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Like
I can see
like,
that.
I think so.
I can
to
see that.
2000.
So maybe like you got
or
like,
up to 2007.
you got your
Maybe
Toy
with the
Story, you got your
exception of
Monsters,
Toy Story.
Inc.
I don't know if they're going to throw Toy Story.
But Toy Story 1 is just so ubiquitous. It's like who hasn't seen
maybe
that yet?
1 and 2, but not 3.
No way. Yeah, 3 is a definite. Buy this thing. Really quick, I wanted to touch on from DCComics.com that DC Entertainment introduces new identity for DC brand.
Throwback.
DC Entertainment announced a new identity and its logo for its iconic DC brand. The new logo is a mark that leverages over 80 years of heritage with an eye toward the future. Quote, while comics continue to be the heart and soul of DC, the brand has evolved to now stand for powerful storytelling across so many different forms of media. DC is home to the greatest superheroes and supervillains, and the new logo has the character and strength to stand proudly along DC's iconic symbols. Stated Amit Desai, Amit Desai?
I think it's
Desai. Amit Desai, DC Entertainer, Senior Vice President of Marketing. So what do you think of the logo?
It's a reused logo, basically. It's a throwback. the whole point of this whole Rebirth thing is to make what was old new again.
Yeah. And I did want to talk to you a little bit about Rebirth. You were reading a few of those last night.
No, I read it this morning.
Okay, hit me with the info. Hit me with what is Rebirth for those of us that don't know.
So in 2011, DC launched the New 52, where they basically took everything that was quote unquote canon in the DC universe, retconned it, and rebooted the entire universe.
Okay.
So the Justice League wasn't formed at the beginning of the New 52 and stuff like that. And Batman hadn't necessarily run into every villain and whatever. And then Rebirth is them bringing back the original stories from decades of comics, all the way back to 1930s.
Okay.
Bringing them back into the fold and retconning the New 52 in a way that at the end, which is a huge spoiler and I don't want to necessarily spoil it.
Okay.
Is just it was completely out of left field. Didn't even see it coming. I'll just say Watchmen.
Okay. And you're satisfied?
I am satisfied because New 52 sucks. There are 52 storylines, and I read 2 of them.
Okay.
Batman and Justice League. Everything else wasn't interesting enough, and it was all kind of too weird for me. So they're bringing everything back into the fold. It's a beautiful Rebirth. They came out with the one shot today, which is what starts up the whole storyline for everybody. It's a really, really well written piece by Jeff Johns, who Jeff Johns can't really do wrong at this point. There's some stuff that's not as strong as his usual things, but
and he's the godfather of the DC universe.
He's like a chief editor and stuff like that. Now he's working on films and he's involved with all the TV shows, so he's very deeply invested in DC.
Cool.
But it's a good story. It's really good. It brings back a very beloved character, Wally West, who took over as Flash when Barry Allen died. But then when they launched New 52, they didn't have Wally West in it at all, except for a newer version. And so they're bringing him back into the fold.
Cool.
And it's kind of like the end of Lost. Rebirth is the end of Lost. It's about finding each other with lost memories.
Interesting.
That's the best way I can to compare it to.
So how long do you think this goes on for?
Rebirth?
Yeah.
Long time.
For the foreseeable future.
I think it's Rebirth now, but it's just going to turn back into regular old DC Comics. The Rebirth is to start it out, and then in August, it's just going to be DC.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because they're going to have everything back in the fold by then.
From Jason Schreier on Kotaku.com, EA says Star Wars Battlefront didn't have a campaign because of The Force Awakens. If you thought Star Wars Battlefront was insubstantial, you're not alone. The folks running EA agree. And they say they plan to add more content when the next one comes along. Yesterday, during EA's annual Investors Day, Executive Vice President Patrick Soderlund explained that they chose to develop Battlefront without a single-player campaign so they could release the game in time for The Force Awakens last summer. Responding to a hilariously blunt question about the game quality from analyst Michael Pachter, who also criticized EA for the flops of NBA Live and Medal of Honor, Soderlund said the publisher plans to learn from that mistake. So there we go. From the horse's mouth, official confirmation of why the game didn't have a single-player campaign. Are you satisfied with that answer?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I think this is bullshit. I think this is bullshit on a stick. I think that it's really, that is just... for some reason, I just feel I feel like that comment is very disingenuous.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you played Battlefront for a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah. It was hilariously incomplete.
Yeah,
as far as great maps. It was fun.
Yeah.
I love dice games, so I love the Battlefield series.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. And the gameplay is so good. It runs so smooth.
Gorgeous.
Guns feel good.
It's just not enough to keep you invested.
Very fun to play. But yeah, it's lacking in content. So it's fun, and suddenly a few hours later, you're doing the same thing.
Charging $50 for a season pass to get the other half of the game is highway robbery.
Yeah. So no bad will against DICE, right?
Right.
Because DICE are the developers. It's EA. It's the publisher that it's EA's fault. DICE was probably they were like, this is going to be awesome. We got this Battlefront. We got fucking Bespin. We got Cloud City. It's going to be awesome. We got the Rancor. We got the family. We got the Skywalker.
He just morphed into Steve Harvey in a matter of 3 seconds.
And then EA comes in the office and they're like, oh, the game looks good. They like where you guys are going along with this. Oh, by the way, we need to have it out this summer before the Force Awakens.
Next week.
Everyone's just like, oh, God. Can you imagine how shitty it must have been for them?
Yeah.
Terrible. So, yeah. Next Battlefront 2017, hopefully they've learned their
It's going to get the half of the game that was supposed to be originally on Battlefront. That's my theory, is that it was incomplete, and then they're going to throw it on this one.
Finally, we'll see a campaign.
Yeah. Yes.
Next story comes from the PlayStation YouTube channel on May 18th. The trailer for Batman Return to Arkham, the Welcome to the Madhouse trailer. This confirmed what we were all speculating for a long time, is that there's going to be a remaster of Batman Arkham City and Arkham Asylum coming to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yes.
In June 24th.
July 27th.
July 27th, yes.
Or 26th.
So I was mostly right on a few of those dates. But I was completely wrong. Yeah, that's true. But the trailer showcases...
It was your swan song of dates.
Yeah. The trailer showcases a lot of, the famous scenes. You got the Joker, you got Poison Ivy, and, going into Arkham. You kind of got a little bit of the elevator sequence in there, I noticed.
Which is so great.
Yeah.
Love what you done with the place.
So how excited are you, John?
So excited.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
10.
Yeah.
No, wait, like 14.
Okay, 14. So this is a 100% day one buy for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pre-order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one are you more excited to go back to?
City?
Yeah.
Asylum's cool, but City is a masterpiece.
City is a masterpiece, and I do think that the games are like best to worst, a third to first. I think Night's the best, then City, and then Asylum. But I want to go back and play Asylum because I feel like I didn't spend nearly as much time as I did with
I just played through it because I wanted to play City.
Yeah. Michael, have you played any of the Rocksteady Batman games?
I've played through a bit of the first one and watched John play through all of
yeah. We talked about that last week. It seems like John was a little bit obsessive about that game.
I might like Batman. Did you know?
A little bit.
I think he's a little bit of a Batman fan. How's the trailer look to you?
It's beautiful.
It looks sharp.
Yeah.
Gameplay footage
Yeah.
as well, which is nice. It's not just cinematic stuff.
No, I'm happy about that. And they're not showing, it's not pre-rendered cut. So you got the freeze fight and everything like that.
Which is really cool.
It looks good. It doesn't look considerably better.
No.
I'm sure it'll look great running on the PlayStation, but
it's kind of like the Uncharted things.
Yeah.
It's just cool to have them on PlayStation 4.
Yeah. And the Uncharted collections do look really good.
Yeah, they look great.
When you go back and look at the
those
Uncharted
games already
PS3,
look pretty good.
They already did look great. Coming up on the end of the stories here, Uncharted 4 sold 2.7 million in its first week. This comes from IGN.com. Unsurprisingly, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End debuted to a massive success when it launched earlier in May. Naughty Dog's highly anticipated action-adventure title sold over 2 million units worldwide. In North America, the game's sales made Uncharted 4 the fastest-selling PlayStation 4 first-party title to date. The worldwide sell-through data for both physical and digital copies include sales as of May 16th.
That's ridiculous.
So it's doing pretty well.
It's
doing pretty well.
If we can't suck this game, no. It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. Did want to bring up
play it.
Hashtag first to plat.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I didn't doubt you for a second.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to
It was
platinum
a wild ride. It was an emotional ride. It was a satisfying ride.
I'm at 86% right.
What else? What do you have left to do on that
Playing
trophy
through
list?
on Crushing.
Okay, how's that going for you?
It's fine. And so I'm going to get, by the end of this playthrough, I'll have the Crushing trophy, journal entry, trophies, and the Not a Care in the World. I'm going to do all 5 of those on this playthrough.
Yeah, the thing about the platinum was that it was easier than I expected it to be. It was a little tedious, especially for all the cleanup trophies. So doing like kill 5 brutes with just
headshot
melee
from the rope one.
Yeah, that one took a long time,
but that was so much fun.
It was fun.
What did you do?
I spammed it in Scotland.
Okay, I went to chapter 15, Thieves of Libertalia. Yes, I know the chapter names because I've played it.
I could probably recite the chapter names
every day for the past 10 days.
Yeah.
That encounter starts where the building collapses after you gave the RPG, and you're hanging from the rope, and you have to climb up and run through the building.
Oh, yeah.
If you hang from the rope
and just
slow-mo and slow down bullets,
yeah,
you just cap guys for 5 minutes. It's like the Matrix. It's incredible.
Yeah, that sounds good. 2 hardest trophies for me to get were the Ghost in the Graveyard and the Don't Kill Anybody until for the whole chapters of 17 and 18.
Peaceful Resolution, yeah.
13 through 14, thank you. That was awful. That was horrifying.
Michael watched me do that one, actually. Nate watched me.
Yeah, Nate watched you do it.
Shouts out to Nate Herman.
Yeah, shout out. That was a really, really annoying one.
Yes, it was.
I just kept...
You know what my least favorite trophy is?
What's that?
The Dolphin Trophy.
Oh!
It took me 45 minutes to round up those dolphins. Come on, man. Ridiculous.
That one didn't take me very long.
Okay. Tell me when to stop on how big your penis is. Right there?
A little bit more. There you go.
Okay.
Last story we have before we go to the X-Men. Sources, No Man's Sky delayed. This comes from Kotaku.
Of course.
You were excited about No Man's Sky, aren't you, Michael?
I absolutely was.
So this is why I wanted to bring this up, is because it looks like it's been delayed. From a leak, little bit of the thing here, it looks like from a GameStop article. But it says a reliable Kotaku source was the first to inform us of the delay. A second source who works at GameStop said they received marketing details today about No Man's Sky with the original June 21st date. However, stores were informed that the release date is no longer correct and that they should cover it up with a coming soon label.
Bummer.
It says the release date for No Man's Sky has changed since the provided posters are printed. Please use it coming up, blah, 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 blah. So, this game has officially been delayed for the millionth time.
Yeah, all I'm saying is if it gets pushed back within 2 months of Battlefield 1, probably won't even be buying it because I'll be too interested in Battlefield 1.
Yeah. I was skeptical when they delayed it the second time and then raised the price to $60.
Yep.
Because this game looks fun. It looks like I'm going to spend like a couple minutes a day just kind of going through, getting my checkpoints, getting into the things. It's going to be fun. But like $60 game, been delayed 4 or 5 times. We haven't heard anything about it. It's presumably going to be at E3, but I don't know, man. I'm super skeptical about this game being
Absolutely.
good.
It looks very cool. Like there's a whole bunch of planets to explore,
Yeah.
but the depth, like as far as the universe, the depth looks
Oh,
good.
sure, yeah.
But it's how do I customize ships and characters, and how does that come in? Like,
Is
it
there
just looks-
combat?
it's very bland when you hit the planet, and it's
Yeah.
just you and your guy.
I don't know. It also seems like such a no-brainer for VR that you would wonder, like, is it going to be even really fun playing it with a controller?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be a good time, and I'm looking forward to playing it, but it's just been such a terrible road to get there.
I agree.
Welcome back to Radio Vania, episode number 17. We're one cast member down. Michael Richard went to bed.
But we're not out.
But we're not out quite yet, folks. This is the title fight.
The bubbly's still pouring long into the night.
We're just going to end the show really quick with just a few minutes of discussion, because tomorrow we're going to go see X-Men Apocalypse. And, John, it's widely known by the Radiovania audience that X-Men is your favorite comic book movie franchise.
No, Batman is.
No.
Marvel.
Favorite Marvel franchise.
Yeah. No, not franchise, but Days of Future Past is my favorite Marvel movie.
Okay.
MCU movie it's not, because it's not in the MCU.
Okay.
I get really specific about it.
It gets a little dicey.
Batman all day. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, everyone knows Batman. But I want to gauge your feelings.
Sure.
How are you feeling? You excited?
I'm very excited for the movie. My expectations are not that high because I just like the X-Men movies, except for X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is a terrible movie.
And X3.
Yeah, X3 is pretty bad too.
Yeah.
But even that's more tolerable than Origins, I would
Sure.
say. I'm really excited to see the reintroduction of characters such as Jean Grey and Cyclops and Nightcrawler.
Shout out to Sophie Turner.
Yeah, and Angel and stuff like that, as well as keeping it Gucci with Fassbender and McAvoy.
Yeah. So tempered expectations. Mine certainly were after I saw the first wave of critic reviews.
I didn't look at them.
Did you look at the overall score though?
No.
Okay.
I'm not Batman v Superman in this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not getting a super great response. I won't go into depth.
Which
but
I wouldn't expect it to.
No.
It's been controversial since the first trailer, so.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to, with a few of the reviews that I've read, it's interesting the way that they write about these characters is interesting to me, considering how much I like Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it in my top 5 or even on top 10 Marvel licensed movies.
Sure.
But I really liked it, and I like the characters, and I like what they did with the universe. It's just surprising to me that this movie doesn't seem to...
That's a hard movie to follow.
Yeah, seriously.
Days of Future Past is a great movie. And a sequel to that is hard to follow, especially when you don't have Hugh Jackman. Well, I guess Hugh Jackman is actually going to be in this movie. But
Sure.
he's not like a featured lead.
Yeah.
At least as far as we know. But I don't think he will be.
No, there's no way. If he was a lead, they would have put him on the poster.
Yeah.
So,
He's
predictions.
going to Mark Hamill it.
He's going to Mark Hamill. Predictions.
He might not even
predictions,
talk.
Predictions. What are you feeling?
Predictions?
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think, what are the big moments? Do you think Apocalypse wins and everyone dies and
No.
that's the end of the universe?
No way.
No.
They just rebooted a whole universe with the end of Days of Future Past. There's no way they do that again. So no way Apocalypse wins. I think I'm going to feel moderate to positive about Apocalypse as a villain. Just in terms of
the character.
Yeah.
We like Oscar
Isaac
a lot. His big shout out.
His motives of destroying the world is a basic comic book villain's motives, so I'm not really like, hey, that's nothing new.
Nothing too exciting either.
So yeah, moderate to positive, maybe just even moderate for him as a villain, because I still think Magneto is going to pull one over everybody's heads like usual.
Yeah, and they've got McAvoy and Fassbender in a movie together, and
again,
they would be totally fools to not put them in scenes together, and because Apocalypse is the main villain, but it's ultimately going to be about the conflict between Xavier and Magneto. I
will say this: I don't think I'm going to be impressed with Jennifer Lawrence's performance.
I never am.
At this point,
I never am.
I liked her in First Class.
Yeah, me too.
Days of Future Past, she was like about the same, but I think at this point she's more in it for the paycheck. I don't think she really cares a whole lot about.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I don't think you'll be surprised about hearing. But a lot of the reviewers said that she is like totally phoning it in, and
it's just
100% phoning it in.
That they're still trying to make her the main character, like one of the main characters.
They're trying to market that thing.
Hopefully,
J-Law sells ticks.
Her contract was for 3 movies, so maybe this will be the end of Mystique being the premiere part of the series.
Do you think they kill her in this universe?
No, I don't think she'll die, but I'm hoping that they pass the torch on to these new mutants while keeping Fassbender and McAvoy.
Interesting. Well, do you have anything else to say thoughts about the movie going in before we...
I think Quicksilver's going to be great again.
Okay.
I think Sophie Turner is going to be great as Jean Grey, and the new Cyclops I think will be cool too. I'm a little worried about Nightcrawler. I still don't think they've quite nailed that guy on a film aspect because of the whole angelic tattoo thing.
Everyone loves that scene from X2 where he's in the White House.
Yeah.
And I just don't get it. That's one of those movie things I don't get. I don't find anything special about that scene at all. I don't think it's cool. I think it's...
You don't think it's cool that he's like teleporting around?
No, it looks so lame.
Really?
I just don't... Maybe it was because I didn't see it in the theater and I saw it late and I wasn't like a super X-Men fan, but...
I like that scene.
For some reason, it just didn't grab. Like,
I think X2 is the best of that trilogy.
I'd agree.
Yeah, but I mean that's not the best scene in the movie, not at all. So yeah, I'm excited about the New Mutants, but mostly just Jean and Scott. I think Nicholas Hoult will be fine as Beast again.
Sure,
he's a great actor.
Nux.
I'm looking forward to this Wolverine scene because I think they're gonna do the Weapon X comic with the headgear.
And you think it's going to be
like
one scene?
One scene.
We're gonna see less than 5 minutes of Wolvie.
I'll go 10.
10 minutes of Wolvie.
Yeah, at the most. But he will be in it for a little bit for sure. Obviously,
cool.
We've seen it in the trailer. But I think it's going to be.
I want that.
I think it's going to be Weapon X. It's going to be him with the headgear, and they're trying to make him into a killer and stuff like that. How he gets there, we'll find out. Because at the end of Days of Future Past, he was in the hands of Mystique. So we'll see if that comes into play in the story. But yeah, Quicksilver, I'm looking forward to. Wolverine. I think that they're going to try and set up. Because this is my prediction for the movie. Is either by the end of the movie or the end credit thing. The next movie they're going to do is another classic X-Men storyline, which I think will be the Phoenix Saga, and hopefully they do it right, not like X-Men 3. I think they're going to try and set that up with Sophie Turner as Jean Grey now.
What's the elevator pitch for the Phoenix Saga?
So Jean Grey, the Phoenix, which is like the power inside of her that makes her a very powerful mutant, it's like an entity almost, turns her bad, and so the X-Men have to fight her, and then eventually she dies. But they might not. I mean, hopefully they do that story justice. Whether it might not be like all in the next movie, but I think they're going to start developing it over maybe 3 more movies.
Interesting. That seems really complicated.
I think if they start with this movie and then by 2 more movies have a trilogy with these new young mutants, that would be a good way to end it. But we'll see.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm not going to say I'm excited, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Okay.
I haven't been to a movie since Civil War, so, I'm excited to just go sit down and chill and watch a movie. It's going to be good. Yeah, X-Men.
Hopefully there'll be some entertaining stuff, but I
do think I'll definitely be entertained. That's not even a question.
I don't think it's going to blow me away.
Yeah. It's just we're at a point with these comic book movies where it's like I start rating them against each other every single time.
The problem is this year there's just been 2 really good comic book movies. And it's...
Which 2 are we talking about?
Deadpool and Civil War.
Okay.
And it's going to be hard to compare, especially since Deadpool is a Fox Studios movie. Deadpool is obviously going to be more... I think it's maybe not like from a financial standpoint more successful, but I think critically it's going to be more successful.
100%. Deadpool surprised everyone. X-Men is not about to surprise
And then Civil War, it's going to be hard for even any movie this summer to come up against Civil War. So,
last prediction before we make our jump into hyperspace. Does Deadpool show up in this movie?
Maybe an end credit tease?
End credit tease.
That's the only possibility.
Okay.
Otherwise, no.
All right. We'll be right back when we come...
Because this movie takes place in the 80s.
Ah.
And he's Deadpool in modern time.
Huh.
So.
No time jumping? Is that where we introduce Cable?
Oh my gosh. Him and Cable show up in the end credit tease? I would lose my marbles. That would be easily worth the price of admission.
Oh, yeah.
As long as the guy who plays Cable is the guy who plays the Hound in Game of Thrones.
It's going to be Keira Knightley.
No. Why?
Because they said that in Deadpool.
That was a joke.
I think that's a great idea.
No, dude, no.
We'll be right back with our full review and spoiler analysis of X-Men Apocalypse. Welcome back to Radiovania, episode number 17. I'm your host, Zach Rotello, at Zach Rotello on Twitter, and sitting across from me is a very tired, very hungover at Dat John Parker.
Not that hungover.
No.
Tired, yes.
Tired, yes.
Yeah.
How'd you good night last night?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Good night's sleep.
Went out, hung out, saw the X-Men, went to a bar, ordered a craft cocktail called the Shaky or something like that.
Stormy Kraken.
The Stormy Kraken.
I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. Kind of like I'd give the movie. Surprisingly.
Execution on the drink, fine. Of course, we
climax of the drink, poor.
We got it. We got to take the drink into the theater, and I stuck with the old classic PBR. But we took the drinks into the theater, and of course, they aren't allowed to give John his cool little rocks glass to put the Stormy Kraken in. They have to give you a little Dixie cup looking thing.
Yep,
it's kind of a shame. Wouldn't even fit in the cup holder.
Yeah, I had to hold it the whole time. My hands were cold.
Well, John, let's get right to the heart.
Problems.
First world problems. Yes, true. Let's get right to the matter, and let's have a discussion about X-Men Apocalypse. Now, so we'll start off spoiler-free on our impressions and everything like that. We're going to run through some numbers and run through some news about the movie and how it's making, the money it's doing, and then we'll get into our spoilers territory. But let's start off with a report from The Hollywood Reporter, and it says, box office, X-Men Apocalypse nabs strong $8.2 million Thursday night. Alice Through the Looking Glass is opening opposite the superhero tentpole over the long Memorial Day weekend. It says Bryan Singer's X-Men Apocalypse earned a strong $8.2 million Thursday night previews at the North American box office, where it's tipped to win the long Memorial Day weekend ahead of Alice Through the Looking Glass. That's on par with Days of Future Past, which earned $8.1 million on its first Thursday night. More bullish box office observers think Apocalypse could near $100 million in its domestic debut, but Fox is being more circumspect in the wake of mediocre reviews, suggesting in the $85 million range. Apocalypse currently has a 48% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, compared to 92% for Days of Future Past, which debuted to $110.6 million on Memorial Day weekend in 2014. Marking the 9th outing in the X-Men series, including the smash hit Deadpool, Apocalypse net budget is $178 million before marketing costs. So, movie did okay Thursday night. Not as well as they would have liked it to have done, of course, but...
Listen, it's by no means a great movie.
No.
But it's also by no means a terrible movie. It's just there, you know?
Somewhere in the middle.
It exists. It's a thing.
It's currently at a 47% on Rotten Tomatoes. Would you agree with that score?
No.
I think I agree with that score, but what would you give it?
Like a percentage one?
Yeah, if you thought this movie, if you were like, I didn't tell you the 47% of Rotten Tomatoes, where do you think this movie would have landed?
65%.
65, really? A D?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like we said last night when we were sitting in the theater, I told you I think the first half of this movie is awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. The first half is awesome. It sets up Apocalypse really well. I like the intro scene in Cairo and all that stuff. Again, we're not going to get too spoilery, but I like how it kind of sets up where the X-Men are, where the different people are, where they are in their lives, and how they kind of bring them together. And then as soon as they're together, it falls apart.
Yeah.
So I would say 50% of this movie is good, 50% is bad, making the movie mediocre in my opinion and deserving of a 47%. I'd say an even 50 is probably where I'd say. I'm 50-50 on this movie.
Sure. I'm 65. I like without getting into spoilers, I like a majority of the characters' involvements in the movies. Kind of like you said, the climax of this movie is very poor, so that doesn't really help. But the fleshing out, even though some characters get a very minute amount of fleshing out, it's good. I like it. This movie feels more like a stepping stone to me. It's like, hey, here are these great young actors and actresses who are going to play your favorite X-Men characters, but you won't really see a better movie with them in it until next time.
Interesting. That's
what it felt like to me. So,
yeah, a lot of the newcomers are fine too. Like I said, I really enjoyed this version of Nightcrawler. I never got the hype with him in X2, and never thought that he was anything like super special as a character. But in this, he definitely strikes me as interesting. I like his character design. I like the guy. He emotes way more than I felt the other guy did from X2. Quicksilver, also awesome again.
Magneto is amazing again.
Yeah, Fassbender always does a great job.
Fassbender and McAvoy are, they're going to stay on par.
McAvoy underused in this, though.
Yeah, but that doesn't take away from when he is in the movie.
That's true.
But yes, he is underused.
But way underused. And
that's the problem that I have with this movie is there's too many people, and it doesn't leave enough. Like, for example, Storm. Great comic book character, has been underused since the beginning of this movie franchise, even from the first X-Men movie. And she's even less used in this movie.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there are a lot of characters. I don't think there's too many characters, because that's what X-Men's always strived at, is having a lot of characters that you don't really care about, but they do something cool. In this, there's a lot of characters I don't care about, and none of them really do anything cool.
Like Angel.
Yeah, like Angel, like Psylocke, yeah, exactly.
The coolest part is when she cuts that car in half, and you saw that in the trailer.
Yeah, that was already spoiled for us, but my biggest negative about this movie is the plot is whatever, and the climax is shitty at best, and the ending is kind of cheesy, and the script is poorly written. But oh my God, was Jennifer Lawrence awful in this movie?
Yeah,
she was phoning this in like a 1-800 number. Let me tell you what.
Yeah,
it was like so blatantly obvious that she didn't give two shits about this movie. You know what I mean?
She just wanted the paycheck.
Well, it's not even that she wanted a paycheck. She was probably contracted for another X-Men movie.
3 movies.
Yeah.
So this was her last contractual X-Men movie.
It's like,
we'll see if they bring her back.
You would think that after 5 days on the set of shooting, of principal photography, and everyone's like, hey, Jennifer Lawrence is not really bringing it. She's kind of stale in all these scenes. She's not smiling at all. She's not, and I get that she's in some kind of emotional scenes in the movie, but there's no charm to her character in this, and I like her in First Class a lot. She's cute and smiling and
and
coy
then Days
and
of Future
interesting.
Past is her cold and distant.
Yeah,
So
but that is
a nice
good too.
role reversal.
Yeah,
but in this one, it's just bland.
She doesn't care.
She's just standing.
She's
there,
apathetic,
talking.
Yeah,
let's go to war. Okay,
straighten up. You're X-Men. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, that was a lot. Oh my God, it was awful. Jennifer Lawrence, love her to death. Great actress. I like what she represents. She was awful in this movie.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get into spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen the movie, shut it off.
Shut it down.
And let's talk about the ending.
Okay.
What did you think about...
You don't start the ending and go back?
Yeah, sure. Let's just start. Because
start at the poor part.
Everyone knows
the good part.
Everyone knows what happens at the very beginning. I mean, it's just there's like 3 or 4 big things I want to touch on, but you know more about the X-Men universe than I do, so if you have anything you want to touch on,
sure,
feel free to bring it up. But the death of Apocalypse and the rising of the Phoenix that is Jean Grey.
Yeah, I liked the rising of the Phoenix part. The death of Apocalypse thing, that's fine, you know, the way that they were able to join forces to kill him, but it was the 40 minutes leading up to his death where they're fighting that it was just kind of whatever.
Yeah.
The third act of the movie is the worst part of the movie.
Oh, yeah, by far.
There's so much CG going on.
So much bad CG.
Yeah.
I like chuckled to myself in the scene where the ship freighter kind of turns over and all those crates kind of start moving in the air. I was like, this looks like ass.
Yeah.
This
For
looks
178 million, it was kind of bad.
It's like, and most of that budget.
The
is
thing
Jennifer Lawrence
is
money.
with the enemy like Apocalypse, everything's got to be big scale. And you'd think that you could try to do a better job of making this a really good third act to your First Class trilogy, if you will. And again, the third falls short. Last Stand was the poorest of the original trilogy. This is the poorest of the newest trilogy.
Third one's always the worst.
Yeah.
Says
Jean Grey.
Says Jean Grey.
Which is one of my favorite parts of the movie. Anything where they reference Star Wars, incredible.
Yeah. Always a 10 out of 10.
So,
yeah, Sophie Turner is Jean Grey. Thought she did a really good job. I thought the Phoenix thing was really cheesy, but that comes from someone who doesn't know anything about this Phoenix saga thing.
I will agree. The setup for the Phoenix is Charles is in this weird dream state where he's battling Apocalypse in the fake X mansion in his head.
Yeah, that was awful.
And
his
then,
mind palace.
And then the way that he lets Jean join him is by opening the Cerebro door, and then she walks in, and then she's fighting Apocalypse in Xavier's mind and outside. I liked her outside because she like engulfs in flames and she just blasts the fuck out of Apocalypse.
Sure.
But I like the whole thing in the mansion was just so awful.
It's dumb.
Xavier's like, "You're in my house now," and he punches Apocalypse
Jason Bourne.
in the face.
Jason Bourne's Apocalypse
gets really big and he's like, "Charles," and he like slams in the ground. It was just not good.
No, it's cheesy.
But showing her true potential, like that was the best Phoenix that we've ever seen on screen because everything in The Last Stand with the Phoenix was terrible.
I don't even remember Last Stand.
Exactly,
Phoenix.
it was bad. So I'm really excited going forward.
Sure.
For Jean, because I think my favorite part of this movie is Sophie Turner as Jean.
She did a great job, and all's fair. Major crush on Sophie Turner.
Right, but that doesn't take away from her job.
She's gorgeous, great actress.
She's going to take over Jennifer Lawrence's role, I think, as in, like, she's going to be the central female to focus on, finally.
Which may have been the stroke of genius on their part.
Yes.
Because someone must have known that Jennifer Lawrence was going to be, like, half-assing it, so they're like, we need someone really good to fill these shoes, so get Sophie Turner.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it. But yeah, the third act is really bad. Besides that,
what did you think about how easy it was for them to take down Apocalypse?
A lot of the line delivery in the third act is what makes it really bad, and the CG.
I mean, the line delivery in the whole movie is like pretty bad. I mean, the script is awful.
It's definitely 50-50 on line delivery. Certain actors do a better job than others, and then even the good actors like Fassbender, sometimes he has a couple lines that are terrible. It's like Ewan McGregor in Attack of the Clones. Some of his lines that were written for that movie are just not good, but he had to deliver it because he's not in charge.
What did you think about how easy it was for them to take down Apocalypse? I just felt like that was so
here's
easy.
the deal. In the comics, Apocalypse doesn't really have like a list of powers because they keep adding on to it because there's multiple writers that have fed life into Apocalypse over the years. So he's kind of an interesting villain to try and use because no one really knows a whole lot about him because there's not a whole lot of stories about him. I mean, there's a couple big ones, but one of the ways that they've taken down Apocalypse is in the past is the Four Horsemen turning on him and using the powers that he gives them against him, which happens. You know, you see Magneto and Storm turn on him and use their powers against him. So that makes sense.
Psylocke is the only one that kind of like walks away, right?
Yeah, and then Angel's dead, so he can't use his powers. Thank God, he was terrible.
Can we talk about other worst scene in the movie?
Well, let's finish this first, and then we'll get there.
Go ahead.
So I think that makes sense, and then Phoenix being the most powerful being in the universe makes sense that she can kind of help. It was Scott's willy-nilly attempts to try and shoot him that I thought was funny. But, the way they can kill him makes sense to me. Like, they team up and the power of them all combined is stronger than him. Because I liked how they didn't make him too OP. I think you got to be able to have a way to take him down.
Yeah. I mean, dude's old. So,
and they make it. His power is. It's making stuff and killing people with sand. So
he's got earth bending. He looks like he's got a little bit of mind control in there.
Yeah, and he can bestow gifts upon people.
Is he the one teleporting, or is that Psylocke?
No, he's teleporting.
Okay, so he's got teleportation.
Yeah.
Teleportation,
but it's
sand.
like he walks into a portal. It's like Blink in Days of Future Past. But, I mean, at that point in the movie, I was ready for him to be dead, so I was fine with any way that they killed him. I was okay with Quicksilver punching him around. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was great. That was really, really great. It was just like... why? I don't know. Like, why have him punch him around if you're just gonna like break his leg? Like, why?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
But I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
The third act is bad, but it happened. It's there. And the Phoenix shot where she's in the air and it's like, it's cool. I liked it.
Yeah. Didn't understand it.
That's the thing, is that it goes.
Like,
if you're a casual X-Men movie franchise fan, it's just gonna go way over your head if you haven't read a Phoenix Saga story or anything like that. So, oh well. Moving back in time in the movie. What's next?
I want to talk about Ben Hardy as Angel in the most metal scene on the.
Yeah, so they took one of the most pivotal X Factor storylines where Angel gets the crap beat out of him, and then Apocalypse gives him metal wings, and they made it into a heavy metal music video that is the worst part of the entire movie, in my opinion. And the acting is bad, and it's just Angel going, yeah, and he's shooting knives at the doors, and so it's awful.
Yeah, that was horrible. That was like one of the worst things I might have seen in
Zach and I just kind of looked at each other, and we're just like, what?
That was awful.
At this point,
like,
we're already invested, whatever.
I like the whole thing with Angel and like the Death Chamber versus Nightcrawler. I thought that was really cool, and I liked that he got his like wing burnt to a crisp. And I started to see where they were going to go with that, where it was. You know, Apocalypse was going to give him his powers back.
And they could have done a better job.
Oh, yeah. It should have been silent, except for the sounds of his, like, spine being ripped out.
Yeah.
And, like, the wings coming in and the metal, and you get the sound of it against the pavement and, like, the bottle breaking and everything like that. But instead, they opted for this metal f***ing guitar lick. All right, so moving on to some better things about the movie, maybe.
Yeah.
Quicksilver.
It's a great scene again. It's not like we talked about last night, the magic's kind of lost because we've seen it, but it's still a really entertaining part of the movie.
No, it's still fun, and they managed to kind of make it not stale, you know?
Yeah.
And it definitely didn't feel stale, but it just for some reason didn't live up to how unique the first one was in Days of Future Past.
Right, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Music choice is
great. The
great.
music choice is great with Journey.
Yeah. Journey?
No, sorry, my bad.
Sweet dreams are made of these.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I like Quicksilver a lot. Like that actor. Thought his line deliveries in the third quarter of the movie also sucked. The whole confrontation with him and Magneto, with like the whole "Am I your son? Am I not your son?" Played off against.
If he had less lines, his role in the movie would have been better. But the lines that they gave him to work with were all really bad.
Terrible.
Really bad.
Yeah.
But I liked that. Like I said, I liked that scene a lot. And that leads right up to the Weapon X scene, which if you want to talk about that next, I think that's a big elephant in the room because everybody's really excited about
what'd you think
with Wolverine. I'm going to give it a thumbs up because it's Hugh Jackman, and you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was glad that he didn't speak at all in the scene. I think we were right. It was probably, less than 5 minutes that he was in the movie?
Less than 2 minutes.
I don't know about that.
From the time you see him to the time that Jean takes the thing off, that's like 2 minutes of screen time with all the guys just like shooting him.
Sure, but I liked it. I liked the little touching moment that Jean has with Logan, even though he doesn't remember her, obviously, and she doesn't know him. But she kind of like accesses his mind and at least gives him his name, which if you think about in the first X-Men movie, the only thing he really knows about himself is his name is Logan, and he's got that dog tag, but he doesn't know what it's from. And I liked how they went back to Alkali Lake from X2. That was the same compound with Stryker and stuff like that. So I liked the scene a lot. I'm glad it wasn't overdone.
Sure.
It was cool. Wolverine busts out, he kills a bunch of people. Jean helps him escape, and then that's that.
I expected more. Wolverine is the X-Men character, like, at least to me as a casual moviegoer. And, I like Fassbender and I like McAvoy and I like these new people and Jean Grey's fine or whatever, but Wolverine is X-Men to me. Like, X-Men wouldn't be X-Men without Wolverine. Like, Wolverine is the heart and soul of that franchise. He's the coolest character. He's the most interesting character, bar none. And I think that the tease is cool, and it definitely left me wanting more, but it also kind of left me a little unsatisfied because I also felt like the killing was a little cheesy.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like...
How so?
There were just a lot of quick cuts, you know?
It's because it's PG-13.
I know, and that's what sucks about it.
That's why Wolverine 3 is going to be amazing. It's
Yeah.
because it's going to be rated R and he's going to be slicing heads off and
Yeah.
stuff. But I thought it was kind of eerie, too. I liked it. There's a moment where this guy's in a corner and he loads a clip and just like, I hope this works, and he just tries to unload a clip in Wolverine, and then it cuts to like a side pan and you just see blood get splattered on the wall. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I think that's just such an old movie trope that I'm so done with, is like killing the guy off screen and then showing the blood, and you're just like, oh, well, you can't show a guy die, for Christ's sakes, because it's PG-13.
It's PG-13.
Yeah, I don't know. I think,
but there's a lot of brutality in this movie already. So
no, there is.
They probably,
I was going to say, like, dude, people's skin melts away in the first 10 minutes of this movie. Why couldn't they just show Wolverine's fucking kill a guy?
Or like when that one of the Four Horsemen in the opening scenes like crumples somebody into a ball. Yeah. Well, I mean, if we watch that scene with Wolverine in slow-mo, he like stabs people in the face, but it's going so fast that you don't really like see a lot of blood and stuff. And that's the thing, is that the moment you add a lot of blood is when it gets like really violent.
Yeah.
But yeah,
blood or gore, like people's limbs falling off and stuff.
I was glad that he wasn't a pivotal part of the movie. I was glad that it was just like a small cameo just to establish some relationship between him and the new Jean and Scott and stuff like that. You know, I liked it.
Yeah.
Moving along.
What else is there?
Let's talk about Fassbender.
Okay.
He has some pretty cool scenes in this movie.
Yeah, Fassbender.
Let's
Go
start. You want to start with Auschwitz? What'd you think of the Auschwitz scene? Besides some of the lines from Apocalypse.
Yeah, Apocalypse sucks, largely. Although Oscar Isaac, great actor.
But see, I like at the beginning of the Auschwitz scene when he's talking about like, put your hand down and feel the metal in the earth. And he's like, feel where they murdered your people. Like, this is where you got your powers and stuff like that. I like that. It was when Magneto started moving the earth, and then he's like, everything they built will fall.
Yeah, it was awful.
I was like, dude, just shut up and let Magneto be cooler than you.
Yeah.
You know? But I thought the scene could have been really powerful, and it was like half powerful.
Yeah. Auschwitz is one of those things where that's a really emotional scene in First Class. And it's a great opening to the movie.
And the original movie.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. I wanted it to be more emotional than it was. There was only one Fassbender scene that really got me, and it was the opening with him and his family in, I'm guessing, Poland? Yeah. And that was really heartbreaking. Like, that was straight up heartbreaking, and Fassbender killed it. I mean, like, he did a great job, literally and figuratively.
I would give this movie a 30% if he wasn't in this movie, because it's a 65 because of McAvoy, Wolverine, Jean, and Magneto. But without Magneto, I think it's a 35% of a movie.
I definitely chalk it back because he's your only legitimate actor in this movie. Like, shout out to Sophie Turner, but she's not Michael Fassbender. Sansa.
Yeah, so like Auschwitz is okay, but it's not as good, like you said, as his opening story.
It's not as powerful.
He starts out, he has a family, he's settled down, you know, he's given up being like a villain, quote unquote. And it's really heartbreaking when he saves somebody at a factory plant that he's working at using his metal powers, and then everyone being afraid of mutants turn on him and they send the cops. Cops accidentally murder his daughter and his wife. And he takes a locket and shoots it through everybody's neck, which is the coolest part of the movie. But it's a very emotional and powerful scene. Yeah.
And then they managed... See, I just keep finding more shit, like, with this movie, is that, like, they have Fassbender kill these guys. Awesome. And then he goes back for revenge, which is what we all want to fucking see.
Yeah, kill everybody in the plant.
And what do? They
ruin it with Apocalypse.
They ruin it with Apocalypse. And Apocalypse just kills them.
Yeah.
God, that was so unsatisfying.
Drops him into the ground.
I was so mad. I couldn't believe that.
Because he comes in, it's like the Red Wedding. He closes all the doors with his magnetic powers.
Yeah.
And he's like they're like, Henrik, please, because he's going by the alias of Henrik. He's like, my name is Magneto. I'm like, oh, he's about to kill all these guys.
To wreck them.
And then Apocalypse shows up behind him, and he's got that stupid portal that he walks through, and he's like, come, my son. And he's like, who the f*** are you? And then Apocalypse, and he's like, don't kill these men. Let me kill these men. And then Apocalypse is like, nah, I'm going to kill these men, and then you're going to come with me. So,
any closing thoughts?
This movie needed more interactions between McAvoy and Fassbender, because that's been your bread and butter for the past 2 movies, and they're separated until the end of the movie.
They don't even have one good scene together.
They have one scene together,
but
and
it's not good. No.
Although, it's the dialogue from the first X-Men movie, where he's like, what do you do in the middle of the night when you wake up, or something like that? And he's like, I pity the poor soul that comes to my school. That was the same. That's the same convo that Magneto and Xavier have in the first X-Men movie when they're at the Capitol. So I thought that was a cool little throwback. But that's the thing, is all the great Xavier Magneto scenes are either a flashback from First Class, which just reminds you how much better of a movie that is.
So much better.
Or it's like a homage to a previous X-Men movie. So they needed more scenes together. You need a better Jennifer Lawrence.
You just need no Jennifer Lawrence. That movie could have been totally fine without Jennifer Lawrence. And I honestly think it would have been a little bit better in my eyes, because she was distracting. She was so bad it was distracting.
Yeah.
Like, every time she was on screen, I was like, are you kidding me? How much did you not care? Like, how big was the amount of money that you just didn't care about this? Like, come on. Like, have a little bit of enthusiasm.
Sure.
I just thought that was so distracting.
Yeah.
My bullet points: poor script, poor acting.
Agreed.
Poor pacing. The first half of the movie is awesome and sets up a lot of great things, and then there's no payoff, and it's really slow. Jean Grey gets great setup, but I found the whole Mind Palace and her winning against Apocalypse really fast and cheesy. Fassbender's great. He's the biggest positive of this movie. Sophie Turner is great. Another great positive. Quicksilver, also great. But again, the second half of this movie just ruins a lot of the positives that the first half had.
Yeah.
It was almost like 2 separate directors worked on this thing. Like, it's
like Bryan Singer left halfway through it.
It's like, uh-oh, we don't know how to end this thing. Just throw all this shit in Cairo. Like, let's just have fucking sand flying in the air. God, I was just really disappointed. I was really disappointed. I still was entertained for the first half, and then by the time Scott was shooting his eye beams, it was 10 minutes of him just going, "Ah!" I was like, all right, let's go to bed. It's time to go home.
Let's wrap this thing up. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd settle on a 50%. I'd give it a 5. So it's a fail. It's a fail for me. It's an F.
Yeah.
But has a lot of positives. It's definitely entertaining. If you like X-Men, go see this movie.
Yes, it's definitely worth seeing. Just so that you can keep up with the X-Men continuity, which is it's kind of semi-strongest thing, is that they keep building on each other. But that can also weaken it as well. But yeah, I mean, Apocalypse is one of the biggest X-Men comic storylines, and they've already had Days of Future Past. They kind of botched Apocalypse, and they botched the Phoenix Saga originally. So hopefully if they do that again, they can do it better. But we'll see.
So the last question I want to ask you before we close this son of a bitch out is, on episode 15, I believe, 15 or 14, you made a point when we were talking about the Marvel / comic book movies of 2016, and you made a prediction that you think that X-Men Apocalypse would be your favorite comic book movie of 2016.
Yeah, I was wrong.
You were wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I was giving it the benefit of the doubt because I'm a huge X-Men fan and I like the movies, and I was hoping the movie would be better than it was, and it wasn't. And I'm okay with it disappointing me, but yeah,
so where does
I've been wrong before, as we all know.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how to say Swan Song correctly or use Swan Song correctly.
John Swan Song Parker.
Ray's clearly not Han and Leia's daughter. No, Captain America's still alive. Yeah. I thought Batman v Superman was going to be good. Maybe my opinion doesn't matter a whole lot.
Yeah, maybe
I should stop predicting things. I'm just going to start talking about stuff.
So in the echelon of superhero movies in 2016, what's the ranking now? I think we can both probably unanimously agree.
Okay, Civil War, Deadpool, Batman v Superman,
X-Men
Apocalypse.
Yeah. And If you had to make a guess, the last two remaining, we got Doctor Strange coming up, and then Suicide Squad, then Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Suicide Squad's in August. Doctor Strange's in November.
Where do we think those two are going to fall?
I think it's going to be Civil War, Deadpool, Suicide Squad, Doctor Strange, Batman v Superman, X-Men Apocalypse.
I would agree with that rating.
And the reason why I like Batman v Superman...
Someone's car's about to blow up.
Yeah, seriously. And the reason why I like Batman v Superman better than X-Men Apocalypse is because even though Batman v Superman had a terrible script, there wasn't as many bad lines and bad line delivery. Not nearly as much. And say what you want about Lex Luthor, but Apocalypse has some really whack stuff. And I like Oscar Isaac a lot more. So it was just they're both disappointments, let's be honest. But Batman v Superman has Batman in the
Batman
White
v
House.
Superman had Ben Affleck.
And Wonder Woman.
She was fine. All right. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Zach.
It's been a hell of an episode.
Yeah.
We got to start planning E3. That's coming around the corner.
Right around the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. If you want to get in touch with the show, I always forget to do this. Tweet us at Radiovania. Tweet me at Zach Rotella. Tweet John at @DadJohnParker. Email the show at radiovaniashow@gmail.com. Go to Facebook, like our page. Go to Spreaker, like, subscribe, and do all the things that you want to. If it helps us, it helps you, right? Help me, help you.
If you want us to talk about something, let us know.
Yeah,
we'll
send us your topic ideas.
We'll make it priority number 1.
100%. If you send a question, you will be read. We promise. We don't get any. So if you send us a question, we promise. We swear to God you'll be on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.